This is episode number 188 of the Homeowner Show. Whether you're DIY or looking to hire, we're here to help you find the best information and options for you and your home. My name is Kevin Hackett, and here with me is Craig Williams.
Hello, and welcome to the Homeowner Show. We're so glad that you could join us for another episode here in the Homeowner Show studios. How you doing, Kev?
I am... Man, I'm tired.
Tired?
But I'm good, man. Things are good. Like, life is, it's fantastic. Things are moving forward with buying a house, and all the things are happening. I mean, Easter has just gone by, which is fantastic.
Well, it will have gone by.
It will. It depends on what audience I'm talking to.
We're live right now on Facebook and YouTube, and, like, it's Sunday's a-coming.
It's coming.
Yeah.
And then... on Tuesday, when it actually comes out on the podcast,
Yeah.
it will have already come. No, you didn't miss anything.
Happy Easter.
Yeah. Happy Easter. Exactly. So, anyway, things are good, man. How about you?
Dude, I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like, I haven't gotten home before, like, 9:30 pretty much every night for, like, the last 2 weeks.
I feel you.
But, like, I'm feeling good. Like, I want to, make hay while the sun's shining, basically. I mean, like, it's,
Shoot, yeah.
So it's good stuff.
Man, today was absolutely gorgeous outside. It was.
Yep.
It was fantastic.
It was a perfect day once again for termites.
Oh, dude. So you put up some crazy videos today, and I was like, dude, can you not just kill those things?
Yeah.
They were everywhere.
Show me the money, baby. I'll kill all of them.
Did you see my follow-up?
Yeah, I did.
Just stomp them. Stop them. Get rid of those things.
Dude, I had another one today that I've never had happen before.
Okay.
I had a lady call me, and she owns a house near my office, and she's in the process of selling the house to the guy renting the house. And she told me, it's like, I really want to do right by this guy. Would you mind coming and inspecting the home for me? We've had some issues that we've been concerned about. Could you just come check it out? Be happy to. So we set up the appointment. Like, there was no planning in this. We just had the appointment set up today. Well, it just so happened, like, every termite colony in Houston today decided to swarm.
Oh.
And so, like, as I'm walking into the yard, I'm like, oh, there's a swarm. Oh, there's a swarm. And they're, like, popping up out of the ground, literally. Like, I see them flying.
Oh, man.
And so I'm, like, telling her, I'm like, hey, I'm seeing termites, like, swarm all over your yard. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, they're just doing that right now, but, like, they're in your yard. And for those of you that don't know, on average, and, like, at least here in Texas, like, the average yard has, like, 20 colonies of termites in it. So it's really not that big of a deal if you just see them in your yard.
Right.
It can be, but it's not necessarily a big deal.
Well, you would rather than be in your yard than be...
In your house.
In your house.
Yeah. So she ends up having me there with her, who owns the house, and the tenant to check it out while they're both watching me. Which I don't care.
Sure.
But, like, that's, like, I'm there for her. So, like,
right.
So but I'm having to tell her things in front of him that he's going to now know as the buyer.
And that, yeah.
That can be tricky.
It can be.
So I didn't want her to be mad at me, but I also was just, I'm going to tell you the truth.
Right.
Doing your job.
So we're walking around the outside of the house in the backyard, and, like, as we're standing there talking, termites literally start swarming out of a window. And, like, I tell her, I was like, look, I mean, like, that's not good.
Right.
It's never good when that happens, but, like, they were literally just coming out of the window frame.
Not
and I
okay.
was like, oh man, they're in the house. Like, they're in. Like, there's no question, they're in the house.
Right.
So
at that point, you have to treat it.
Well, I don't have to do anything.
Well, but I mean, if as someone that owns the house, you have to treat that house like.
Yeah, well, like, there are some situations, and, like, this, I think this is good for most business people. There are some situations that are worth walking away from. And this wasn't one of them, but, like, there I've been in some, and, like, there was actually one I did with Ricky one time where we both just kind of took a deep breath and walked away. Really? And said, dude, don't buy that house.
Right.
So. Yeah, I mean, like, it was a weird day, but we actually have a guest we've been trying to get on for a while now.
This has been
He's been
long
ducking
time.
and dodging us.
Oh, yeah. I don't know about that.
That's right.
We got Robert Green from Greenlight Movers, And we've been excited to have you on the show for a long time. And we're also excited because right before the show, he told us that we could talk about anything.
Absolutely.
So I really want to know from you guys, are you guys going to be changing the way you're shaving?
No.
No?
Change the way I'm shaving.
Yeah.
No.
No?
No.
So before the show, and I don't know if Robert, if you've seen this, I was showing Kevin the ad for Jeremy's razors.
Yes. Now I'll tell you, this is unbelievable and amazing.
Have you seen this?
I have not. I want to see this.
It's fantastic.
I don't think we can show the ad.
No. No.
But do you know what the Daily Wire is?
Yeah.
So the Daily Wire used to be sponsored by Harry's.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the razor company, and now they've got like all these gels and shampoos and all for men. So they pulled their ad because they said they had a misalignment of values over something that one of the hosts on the Daily Wire said. And they made it very public that was why they were doing it. And the Daily Wire just now responded this year and said like, hey, you know, like, look, if you want to pull your ad, we don't care. Pull your ad. But like, don't go out and say that like that we have a misalignment of values. Don't try and besmirch us.
Yeah.
Right. So in response to that, the president of Daily Wire came out with his own line of razors called Jeremy's Razors. And what was the domain for it?
I hate Harry's.
I hate Harry's.com. And so like they do like this 2-minute ad about like this. You'll have to watch it.
It's good.
It's funny.
It's well done.
Yeah. And so anyway, I know a little bit about it. I know that like within the first 3 days of the company going public, they had like 27,000 subscriptions made for their razors.
Wow.
And so it's just interesting to watch how, and like all this is happening on Twitter, by the way, which that could change now that Elon might be buying that.
Yeah.
I mean, he made
$56 a share.
Yeah. I think he made, it was like a 50% bump in the stock price that he would pay for it for what it's valued at right now.
Right.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
So, but anyway, all this happened on Twitter.
But here's the thing. I mean, look at us. We're not going to change the way we shave.
No.
Robert, look at Robert. You don't shave.
I don't shave.
No, I don't shave. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Who does that?
Look at this. This is not the face of a man that shaves.
Well, you're not doing the football thing anymore.
That's true.
Yeah. You would have.
Well, eventually.
So let me ask you this. If you had to shave for football season, which I know you're not,
Right.
but if you had to, would you order the razors?
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Wait, why did you have to shave for a football?
He was
Unofficial.
Unofficial, yeah.
Yeah.
And they have to shave.
What?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Have you ever seen a football official with facial hair?
I haven't. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Okay, there you go.
I mean, football's a manly sport. I mean, what's more manly than a big beefy beard?
But here's what's crazy.
What about the hair on top?
Well, obviously that's not an issue.
Well, I mean, for like the rest of them, obviously, you know, like,
mean,
that's not an option for you. But
Right, like
Shots fired.
yeah, like I think that I mean there's so the
could
whole
you have like a ponytail?
no, not real no because I mean
No
the
mullet?
whole thing is like it's a whole kind of old school mentality of professionalism, right? And you know there was a lot of businesses back in the day that you know being professional meant that you were clean shaven and
Sure.
those sorts of things. And so it's the same type of deal. It's a professionalism thing and it's a tradition that just holds over. Now, a lot of you'll see more high school officials that still have some facial hair, but you know, once you get to like a certain level, you're doing like, you know, 6A, 5A, 6A football, you're not going to see very many. But especially once you get into college, it's a big deal. You don't in NFL like you don't have facial hair. And what's interesting?
What would they do if you did? Did they just fire you
Well, it's
or fine you?
no, it's definitely an expectation. Like you either will shave or you will not be part of this conference or part of this organization. So the way they say it's kind of funny to me, at least the way it was said to me, which was no hair below your upper lip. And I'm like, why don't you just say you can have a mustache?
Yeah.
So I don't know really why that's the stipulation, but it is what it is. And I mean, it's just,
Wait, so you can't have hair on your head then? Is that what you're saying?
well, I guess. I mean,
I can't recall
no hair below your upper lip, so you can have hair
You're right.
on your head.
Yeah.
You have one of those beautiful bowl cuts.
There you go.
Yes. Oh, Zach Morris.
I'm thinking more like Mo Howard, like all full bowl.
Yeah.
So no, I was wondering if they got fined. I saw this really beautiful meme today, and I got it from my buddy Greg. I'll have to show it to you later, but here's what it says. It says, punishable by fine means legal for a price.
Oh, nice. Nice. That's good. No, I don't think there's like any fine. It's just, it definitely is an expectation though.
I mean, like that is something that they do in the NFL, right? Like if you do like certain things on the field,
sure,
like they fine you,
yes.
which means
it probably is a fine.
Yeah.
Well, but like for
legal for a price.
Yeah.
As far as I know, officials aren't getting fined for stuff.
Okay.
They're getting,
you're just going to get canned.
Yeah.
They get paid pretty well too.
Yeah,
they
get paid really, really
Some
well.
of them make like $250,000 a year.
Oh, yeah.
Just being a ref.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, really more than that, some of them. I mean, it kind of
You're not getting any sneaker deals. That's
No.
But like, I mean, like, legitimately speaking.
That would be funny, though.
That would.
The officials that do the Super Bowl, they make about $30,000 plus for that one game.
Wow.
Plus all of their expenses.
I got to be honest, that doesn't seem like enough for that game.
I know, I agree.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
I mean, I think that's a ridiculous amount of money for
$30,000
officiating
for
a
a day.
game.
Yeah.
But like for all the money that gets poured into the Super Bowl, that just doesn't seem like enough.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, that's like 2 seats.
Yeah.
Really, if you think about it.
That one guy complaining in the stands, I paid for your salary.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Make better calls.
Make better calls. Yeah. No, but anyway, so.
But
well, I'm glad we got on that tangent.
Yeah.
That was fantastic for a moment.
I'm actually, we haven't done this line of questioning in a while. I'm actually curious how you got into business. What's the origin story of Greenlight Movers?
Nothing bad.
Nothing bad.
Well, let's
Nothing
move
bad,
on
'cause
then.
the way he smiled at me. Oh yeah, we need some drama. We need a little bit of controversy. Yeah, nothing bad. It's just I work for another moving company. So long story short, or long story long, probably.
No, long's fine.
I used to move a lot as a kid. I think I've went to 10 different schools. My dad was in the military. Then he went into aeronautics school, became an aircraft mechanic. So I moved from Lawton, Oklahoma, a few times within Lawton, to Oklahoma City, to Tulsa, to Fort Worth, Richmond, Virginia, then here to Houston. I moved at least 2 or 3 times here, 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
So I moved a lot.
Yeah.
So I kind of already had the understanding of moving, what you go through emotionally, physically, and it just happened to, by coincidence, I was looking for a job, younger, 17, 18 years old.
Okay.
And ended up finding on Craigslist a moving position. Just did it on the weekends, and I ended up falling in love with it. Love the physical side of it, helping people out. Ended up moving up to be an estimator. Loved that as well. Just hated the company I worked for. They were all about money, but never about the experience. But they tried to sell the experience to me, the movers, and the customers. But when I became an estimator, I realized it's just all about money. And I've realized when you take care of the experience and the customer, the money's always there.
Yeah.
So I just really got tired of putting my name on something. I'll basically go into a home or a business, give them an estimate on their move. And so the way they charge is if the move goes over the allotted time that I estimated, the customer pays more, which I don't like that. Used to not be that way. But I quickly found out that they were putting inexperienced guys on the move. I would have a crew of 4 people, 2 guys were experienced, 2 guys never did a day in their life. And so the move's taking a lot longer, looked at like I'm the issue, but really it was them. So that kind of drove me out of it, tired of putting my name on things and having to fix it so my name stays good, not because of the company, but for me.
Yeah.
I ended up then got to a situation where said company let me go, even though I was the top estimator, top sales guy, and the youngest in the Houston market that they ever had.
Wow.
Just didn't really make any sense. But since then, I had somebody we moved, took care of them. I moved other people, and then long story short, they tried to call me about 9-10 times to get me to come back. And started to realize it was just a manager that was exiting and trying to set it up in a poor condition for the next manager, I guess to make themselves look better. But unfortunately, I had to lose my job for that.
Sure.
And so all that came into play, and I just realized I love what I do. I just didn't like the company. So instead of joining another moving company and having to prove my point, I just made my customers my boss as opposed to a boss that never did a day in their life.
Nice.
So, just loved moving. Loved the whole emotional side of it, understanding it, and just never stopped.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's what got me into it.
So on something that you said about the company you're working for, did you kind of feel like when they like trained you to be the estimator? I assume they trained you to do that.
Yeah.
So were they kind of doing that where you would like underestimate it so that then the homeowner would have to pay more eventually because they knew that it was going to take longer? Did you feel like that was the way they were kind of beefing up their numbers a little bit?
This company is a huge company.
Yeah, we don't need to name them.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say any names. They don't need any.
They don't need any press.
Notoriety. They don't need any of that. And plus, if people hear the name, they'll be like, "Oh, okay." Yeah, but yeah, they didn't train me to undercut. The person that trained me was actually a great guy. He's a stand-up guy, and the things that he did teach me to do, I was kind of told to forget that when I came back. I trained him for 2 weeks. And they kind of told me to forget that when I came back to Houston from the Dallas area doing training.
Okay.
So I was kind of like, well, why was I up there for 2 weeks training if you told me to forget everything I learned? So that should have been a red flag right there. But the guy who trained me, he was very honest. He trained me on just the emotional side of it, how to treat people when you walk in on an estimate. Just little things that I still remember to this day. Like if you go into a room with a customer that's a woman and it's just her there, don't block the door if she's in the closet. Don't block the door if she's in the bedroom, just to make sure she feels comfortable.
Yeah.
Go into the other side of the room. So things like that he taught me. But again, everything that they said that I learned from him to kind of forget. So it wasn't really the trainer. It was more of just, this is kind of how they did it. They could like to undercut. So they didn't say, hey, go in there and quote. They told me to quote, above what I think it's going to be by a little bit. They didn't tell me to account for having inexperienced people on the job.
Right. Yeah, because you don't really have any control over who's there.
No.
I mean, you went in and said this is how much it's going to cost, and they're putting in experienced people, and so someone that might take an hour to do a job, they just don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So maybe it takes an hour and a half, or maybe it takes 2 hours, right? And so then, but they're adding that on to the customer's bill.
Yeah.
Like, what if the customer like says something like, "Hey, these guys I was there whenever it was happening, and like they were goofing off and they were slow. Like, what?
We saw an awful lot of lollygagging.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, how did they handle that type of situation?
With the situation, I didn't know. I just knew the move went over. I didn't have a conversation with the customer about it. They did.
Okay.
So what happened was I went to the move. 2 guys inexperienced, never did moving day in their life. First time I ever saw them. And then 2 guys that are very experienced. Went to the move for a little bit, saw the guys, and then I went off to my appointments. And then on another move, I think a day or 2 later, one of the experienced guys came and said, "Hey, I'm sorry about the other move. It took longer. We had to we were packing. We had to unpack the boxes that they packed up and repack them. And so the move went longer because we're having to really train these guys on the job. And at that point, I think a day before that, my manager's getting on to me like I was the issue.
Yeah.
When really I'm finding out that it's 50% of the crew is not experienced. So the move would go over because it's inexperienced people. They're having to retrain, they're having to train people, redo boxes that they packed up, redo furniture that they wrapped up because it wasn't done right. It's a lot of that.
Yeah.
So that was my main issue.
So so based on what I'm hearing you say, like, I mean, obviously you were told you can't work here anymore. You eventually build up your own business.
Yeah.
You start your own business. So what types of things did you decide I'm not going to do it that way? And what does that look like for your business today?
I mean, the number one thing is it's really as simple as just do what you say you're going to do. It's really just that. Do right by your customers. Just realize, like, I think a lot of people forget in this type of industry that we're in the service industry. Our job is to serve the customers, not serve myself, not serve, the team, serve my customer. And we benefit after that. Too many people get into business because they just think about themselves. I'm going to make so much money.
Right.
Not, I'm going to fill a need. I'm going to take care of the customer. And then the byproduct of that is hopefully I make some money from it and hopefully I'm successful. But
Yeah.
the first thing is to take care of the customers. That's one thing I do differently from them is just taking care of the customer. As simple as that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, moving has a really bad rep. A lot of movers will get into it just to mess people over. Purposely tell them one price to get their foot in the door, to tell them a higher price. It's a shame, but it makes me look better when we come in and do a good job.
Right.
Because they don't expect it, which is to me an issue.
Right.
It's like somebody hiring you, expecting there to be bugs in the home after you leave, expecting the bugs not to be killed, but still pay you. It's kind of like what happens in moving. People expect things to go wrong, expect you not to show up, expect you to break stuff and not fix it, but they still hire the people to do it.
Yeah.
And so when I come in and do something right, it's like, oh my goodness, you're great. I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to do.
This is how it's supposed to go.
And so I just learned just simple things like that. Do what you say you're going to do. Do right by your customer. Try to make sure everything you do is for the customer.
Yeah.
And that's been big. Just simple things like that.
Yeah. The mindset that you're talking about, man, is the way that a lot of people have it backwards, because a lot of people are like, how can I, like what you're saying, how can I make so much money on this project? Whereas, I forget who it was that I heard it from the first time, but it was, how can I provide the most value to the most amount of people? You know? And that's a totally different thing, because that's not me making money. That's me, what you're talking about, serving people and fulfilling their needs, and not just like their expectations, but like kind of going beyond their expectations, because that's where people find value, is when they start receiving things that they didn't expect.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I think that there's something about that too, though. Like, I would rather pay someone who's going to do that for me, who's going to be honest, even if they cost more. If I feel like my needs were met, but even more than met, they were realized, like my needs were listened to.
Yeah.
It sounded like the guy was not just trying to make money off of me, but truly cared about it. Like, I would rather spend my money there. And so I think this is a big deal to us as we do this show a lot. Like, this whole idea of how do we help our listeners and viewers understand how to find a good contractor, right? So how do you find a good contractor? I think part of it is, how do you feel about it whenever they leave? Like, do you feel comfortable with that person? Do you feel like, oh man, I didn't get a good vibe from them? Like, the vibe matters.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It really matters, you know? And so I think that kind of that misnomer is people will pay for things that they find value in. They absolutely will. And so, I mean, you're finding that that's true in your business for sure.
Yeah.
You know, you take care of a customer, and not only are they going to feel totally fine about paying your price, they're also going to tell their friends.
Very true.
Right?
Especially in this area.
Yeah.
Talk.
Yeah, people talk. I mean, like, and they talk in lots of different ways.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: what is it that you have noticed that most people are surprised the most about moving? Like, as far as like what you guys provide, like when they're like, "Oh, you guys do that," or like, or how well something. What is it that you guys do that is most surprising to your customers?
The thing I get the most, I've gotten, I think yesterday, day before yesterday, is just how surprised people are that my guys come in, they're happy. They come and move people, they're smiling, they reassure them, everything's going to go good. They're just surprised by that. To me, it's not, surprising that people are surprised by that.
Yeah.
I kind of have a old school mindset, an old fashioned mindset of just service first. I call it a lost art. You know, the yes mail, no mail, Chick-fil-A type of service. That's kind of lost. But people are surprised when I have guys that come in and just treat them like people.
Yeah.
Treat them right. You know, say we're going to take care of it. Yes mail, no mail. Yes sir, no sir. That's what people are usually surprised about a lot. Of course, the moving side of it, when we come in, wrap up their furniture, they're surprised that we do pad things up. We protect the home. Honestly, to me, it's simple. It's just us doing our job. People are surprised by.
Yeah.
And it's I don't like that, because I know there's so many companies out there that aren't doing a good job. That people are surprised by us. It's like surprised that you showed up at their house, or you had one of your people show up at the house and spray their house and the bugs were killed. I'm surprised you killed. I have dead spiders around my house.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
that's what we do.
that's what I do.
Right.
Yeah.
And
What's interesting about what you're saying, man, is, interesting and sad, is that manners are surprising to people.
Yeah.
Like basic good manners for a company, like what you're saying, someone comes in and asks you a question, you say, yes, ma'am. Like that would be surprising to them. And that's such an easy thing for service people to adopt. And obviously it's easy because they're teaching morons to do it at Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not to like make fun of them. Like they're high school kids.
They're kids.
Yeah.
And they're giving top-notch service.
And they have better manners than most adults these days. Which, say what you want about millennials, but like, there you go. Like better manners than most adults I know if you came out of the Chick-fil-A program.
Right.
Which my parents today actually told me that they had similar service at Dutch Brothers, the coffee company.
Yeah, I've seen.
Yeah, which former guest David Sellinger.
Yep.
Yeah, he's like, didn't he like help start that company?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he told us, and like they brought me a coffee today. It was fantastic.
Really?
But what they talked about was, man, the kids that were running that thing were hustling and had incredible manners. And like, so what you're saying is absolutely true that like people appreciate that.
Right.
And I think it's kind of sad that it's not the norm, you know, that, and so here's what I'll say about that. Like, what an easy way to differentiate your business these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's simple in many ways. And first of all, it's doing what you say you're going to do and then providing value on top of it. Right. And I mean, those types of things, there's very few things in life that are.
Is that on? Is the volume on that?
No, I'm good now. We're good.
No, I hear it.
Oh, you hear it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm hearing it somewhere.
I don't know.
It's gone now. Sorry. Carry on.
We fixed the sound issues, I'll tell you that. Because there were some sound issues and we fixed it. I think that there are very few things in life that are more personal than your home.
Yeah.
I mean, like a lot of people are like we just moved, right? Mm-hmm. We just moved, and we use some of your services to do so. And it was one of those deals where people were like, it's probably really good because you got to declutter or whatever. I was like, we didn't declutter. We put everything in a box, and we might possibly declutter whenever we get to where we're going next. But like, no, we put it on a box because it's our stuff.
Yeah.
And like I don't know. Have either of y'all watched 1883? The
What
show?
is that? Is that the new like Yellowstone spinoff? I haven't watched it.
Okay,
no.
well, it's fantastic. But there's a moment in the show, and I'm gonna give it away. But there's a moment in the show where like some stuff gets destroyed.
Spoiler
Right?
alert.
And trust me, a lot of stuff gets destroyed in this show, so it's not too much of a spoiler. But some stuff gets destroyed. I think it's like episode 4 or 5, and they're devastated. They're absolutely devastated.
Yeah.
And it's like because they brought everything they had with them on this journey, and whenever it comes to like your personal stuff, like there's not I paid for that. I chose that bed. I chose that table. I chose that couch, right? Not to mention all of the pictures on the wall and all of these sorts of things. And so for you to come in and basically you put your hands on everything. The intimate drawer, right? Yeah. Like all of the things, right?
Yes.
You put your hands on everything, and there is something very vulnerable about that. I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts about like that and like your experience with people as far as like them going, yeah, I'm going to just give you full rights to do all of like touch all my stuff and move it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Some people get a little too comfortable. What I mean by that is I'll call and say, hey, how's the move or how's the packing going? Oh, good. We're at the movies. We're getting some dinner.
Wow.
Well, okay. Well, I'm glad you're that comfortable.
Yeah.
Enjoy your evening.
Yeah, enjoy your evening.
We didn't do that.
Yeah. But I'll get calls. Hey, can you call the customer because we're trying to get this question figured out? They're not answering the phone. Like,
yeah.
Are they not there? No. They just probably left, didn't they? No, they've been gone for a few hours.
Jeez.
I appreciate that y'all trust us so much. But,
yeah.
They have questions. It's not
Yeah.
a big issue. I mean, I love that. But sometimes, our crew has questions that need to be answered. And they can't answer those questions. Or they have something they not sure if they should pack or not pack.
Right.
But that's probably what I see is I get a lot of people that are pretty comfortable about it.
Yeah.
The ones that want packing, they're comfortable with us packing up everything.
Sure.
Most people are okay with us packing up, the stuff that came from their grandparents or family heirlooms. You get some people that will take stuff on their own with them. But a lot of people are they're fine. Like, hey, you're packing my house. I don't want anything to do with it.
Right.
So we found some things that maybe we're supposed to find in many different ways.
That's a later question.
We're going to circle back around to that one.
So I would just say people are pretty comfortable.
Sure.
We get the ones that don't want us to pack up their stuff. Some of them will say, "Hey, I don't want anybody to touch my stuff. I'm used to pack my own stuff." Cool. We understand.
Is there stuff that you found that you'll be like, I'm not going to touch that?
There have been some things.
Yeah, like what? Nothing. I'm not asking anything inappropriate.
Well, I mean, that's what it is. We found some inappropriate things. Well, I remember one move. I was actually a mover on this move when I worked for the last company, and there was a drawer. I
love it.
Every good story starts with there was a drawer.
Right.
There was a nightstand that we moved, and we heard vibrating in the truck. And then we get into the room and hear more vibrating. I'm like, we open the drawer and we see exactly what it is.
Oh, no.
And so we just leave it there. Didn't want to tell the customer about it. Then
definitely don't want to touch it.
Yeah, definitely don't want to touch it. Then there was the Comcast guy was there hooking it up, and he was right next to the nightstand, and we could see his face, and he knew it was in there as well. So eventually I ended up telling her, I think there's something going on in your drawer. You just want to take care of it.
I need to know what like battery company they're using.
Yeah, right.
It must be an Energizer.
It must be.
Going,
Buddy's not stopping.
No, going and going.
Yeah, we've had that. We found in drawers. We've of course find whatever people use recreationally to have fun. We found a lot of that.
Have there been moments where there's like antiques or like maybe like original art or something? You're like, I don't know.
No, I can't really recall anything that we said. Hey, no, I don't. Antique wise, that we wouldn't move. Can't really say.
But you're definitely there's got to have been some stuff that you're like, guys, this has got to be. You got to really take care of this.
Oh yeah, we've had.
Can you give an example of that?
I know we've had one. This was a while back. It was like probably 4 or 5 years ago. We had somebody move from Trinity over to Durango, Colorado.
Okay.
And they had. I just remember because it's just so heavy. I was actually a mover on that one too. No, I was the estimator, but I was with them. I was pretty involved in my moves. But he had a marble fireplace. It was in different pieces, but just a piece, probably like that big, weighed 50 pounds.
Jeez. Oh my gosh.
So that was not fun to move. I helped them, get onto the truck. That's one thing I probably would never forget. We moved. There's a guy we moved from Teeswood. I moved him a few times from Teeswood to Shadow Lake Creek, and then Shadow Lake Creek to Bentwater. And he had just like 4 or 5 wardrobes that were built in the 1700s, which is cool to see.
Heck yeah.
I have a guy I'm getting ready to move now. It's not really anything too amazing, but it's just this cool. He has a replica of a ship inside of a glass container. It's pretty cool, but
yeah.
Trying to think. I know I've seen some amazing things that I just cannot think of right now. Off the top of my head.
Valuable stuff, obviously.
Oh yeah,
pretty amazingly valuable.
Yeah, I've moved. Who was it? We moved somebody that had a bust of the owner of the Texans. I think they were friends with them.
Oh wow,
it was just random. I guess they said that he gave him out to some of his friends, which was just cool to see.
Yeah.
I've moved. We moved. It's a family by the last name of Biso. They looking up their history or just seeing when we packed up their home. They're a marine, basically like a marine family. They have a marine company. They used to pull ships out of the water, kind of save the ships. I don't know if they're kind of what situation they're in, but you would find like I don't know what it's called. It's some sort of meter that gauges how deep they're going into the water.
Okay,
it's pretty big, pretty thick. They had a bunch of old. I'm really bad at names on things, but a rower or whatever you use to steer the boat. They had those.
Yeah, wheel.
Yeah. Well, I guess you can call it a wheel.
Yeah.
I thought that was a more technical name.
There probably is.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what we're talking about.
Yeah.
The wooden wheelie thing that turns the boat.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's got little handles on it.
Yeah.
I've seen some cool hidden rooms. I've had one movie we did recently.
I'm really curious that family that you were moving might have been like some reformed pirates.
Might have been.
Yeah. And they just started legitimate business on the land, but like they used to.
You never know. I mean,
their last name used to be Arr.
Yeah, Arr. They didn't move from it's like roughly 10,000 square foot house, so there might have been some.
I'm just saying,
some booty,
some treasure chest.
Booty.
Pirate gold will buy you quite a bit.
It will. We've done probably like 4 or 5 moves for them at this point.
Okay.
Moving, I think we're supposed to do a move from New Orleans for their mother as well.
Nice.
But there's a lot of cool family history for them.
Did they pay you in doubloons?
They did it.
That should have tipped you off.
But I found a genie jar. I don't really know. It's a little,
But meeting them made me realize how boring my life is, or how boring my family. I don't have a family history like that.
Yeah.
Like, we used to pull ships out of and we have this huge family company with newspapers with our, father on it. I don't have that.
Yeah. Okay, so since we're talking stories, like, have you ever? Like, what is the? Because I know that you don't always pack people. In fact, I would assume most of the time you don't.
Yeah.
I don't know, but what are some horror stories of people that are like, we're moving today. You show up at their house and it's ready to move everything, but it just wasn't prepared. Right? I'm assuming that there's some pretty bad stories with that.
Yeah, we've had some of those. I'll actually give you one story just of a move that we weren't able to do. Just because of how bad it was. It was years ago. It was before I started this company.
Okay.
And she lived over by off of Gosling in 99. I think before 99 was there.
Oh, okay.
So the neighborhood over there starts with an M. I think it's McKenzie Park or
that's
Creek.
one of the newer ones over there. Yeah.
Nice, really nice homes. But she had a home kind of back in there, right by I think it's Fox Hollows over there. And she had probably 5-10 acres.
Okay.
And long story short, city was kicking her out, basically buying her land. And
It was like eminent domain kind of a deal?
I believe so.
Okay.
It was either for the neighborhood or for 99. I think it was for the neighborhood. But anyways, I go there. It's just a big field. There's a mobile home here. There's a fifth wheel over here. And then there's, like, kind of further back, there's two back ends of an 18-wheeler. And then she has a few horses as well.
Yeah.
So I talked to the lady, and we're supposed to move everything from, this is just an estimate. So we're supposed to move everything from the mobile home, the fifth wheel, and some stuff from one of the back ends of a 18-wheeler.
Okay.
And so I walk through the fifth wheel. It is jam-packed. Then I get over to the mobile home, and she's an older lady. She said, well, hey, I haven't been in this mobile home in a few months. She pointed to the stairs. Stairs that go up to it are wooden. They broke. Almost broke my hip. I haven't been in there since. So I go inside, and it's ransacked. It's food on the floor everywhere, clothes everywhere. You can smell a bit of a stench, animal of some sort.
Oh my gosh.
And I could see droppings, and I noticed as raccoons had been in there at that point, and it's bad.
Yeah.
Right.
To the point where I had to walk away and say we couldn't do the move.
Right.
And even though the city was paying for it, so the city's paying for it, it's going to be like a $25,000 move.
Oh my gosh.
But even then, I was like, I can't do it.
Right.
Just not. I'm not the first company to deny her.
Right.
So apparently, it was big of an issue, but big move, but just couldn't risk guys getting rabies.
Sure.
Right. Because it was bad.
Wow.
And of course, I've been into homes that are where they're, I can't remember,
Like
words
hoarders?
right now.
Or?
Yeah, they're hoarders where.
Okay.
Fortunately, I haven't had the bad hoarders that you see on TV where they have
Yeah.
dead rats and it's
Yeah.
filled up to 5 feet tall. I have had it to where we can't see the floor anywhere in the home. Papers everywhere, stuff everywhere. I haven't had to walk away from any of those
Okay.
as of yet. I haven't seen any of those in a while.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah, but fortunately, we were able to take care of them. But most of them just been a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Just stuff
But
everywhere.
how often do you show up to someone's house to move and their stuff's just not packed?
Used to be a lot.
Okay.
Not much now. But it used to be a lot when I worked for the last company. I don't know why, but people are more prepared now. I feel
You think it's like a communication issue?
It could be.
Yeah.
I think it's that. I know we've had a few times where people didn't pack, and it's more of a communication issue on the customer. The company could reach out and say, "Hey, we're just following up. We're going to be out here this day. We want to make sure you have these things taken care of." That would fix it. At least being more prepared.
Yeah.
But of course, the customer, if they know that we're coming in just to move, and they don't pack anything up, I think it's kind of communication issue on their end.
Yeah.
Right.
But again, as a company, we know this. This is our profession. We should contact them beforehand.
Right.
Sure.
I feel like now, because we are really big in word of mouth, then a lot of people, we move good people refer us out to other people. So
Right.
people like you that have your stuff together,
Yeah.
if you can't do certain things, like if you didn't want to move yourself, you would let me know.
Yeah.
Or say if it's a situation where we're just moving, you let me know ahead of time, hey, we didn't pack it up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just sometimes people just,
We're not ready.
yeah. There's some people who think that they can get more out of it than what they thought. They maybe can get a free pack or something.
Yeah.
Some people were just unprepared and just didn't let me know. They got a lot going on, which I can understand. But we've had a few of those.
Yeah.
Walk in and we're like, what are we doing?
Right.
And it ends up being at 2:00 or we get there and they're packing as we're moving.
Sure.
Which those always take forever.
Yeah.
Those end up being 2-3 in the morning moves. We've had moves where we've worked longer than that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
On some.
I mean, do your guys kind of go into those situations going like, okay, this could be a cakewalk, or we could be here till 3 a.m. I mean, they kind of go. Do they kind of go prepared mentally to be like, this could go one of two ways?
I don't think so, because most of our moves go pretty smooth.
Yeah.
I think the experienced guys in the back of their head, like, okay, something could happen, or I could get here and it could just be totally crazy.
Yeah.
But they know that we usually prepare the customer.
Well, because you guys go and look ahead of time.
Yeah.
And,
Depending on the size of the home or how soon they give us a heads up, I'll go out there, see everything, give them an exact price for everything, so there's no surprises.
Yeah.
And then let them know, hey, if you want us to pack up, let us know ahead of time. So I don't usually run into those issues. For the ones that we talk to over the phone, still kind of go over the same things. So it doesn't usually happen.
Okay.
I just think it is because we just move probably different kind of people. The company I was with before, they kind of just try to move anybody that would pay for it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Paying customer.
Yeah, and they didn't always explain the charges properly, so we didn't always get the right type of customers.
Yeah. They were just hunting for warm bodies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they were pricing out a move a certain way, not giving the full price. So then the people that were moving aren't expecting that, and they're not as professional, as prepared. So it ends up coming down on us where we're there till 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you that, you're talking about like the guys that work for you, which by the way, when you treat people well, they want to stay with you. Yeah. Right. They want to work hard for you. Right. I can tell, that your guys are treated well, and they feel, well compensated and treated well. So, they were delivering some stuff for us, like for the pack, and the guys are like, "Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow." And I was like, "Well, no, you won't, because we're gonna move ourselves. They're just doing the packing." He's like, "Oh, for real?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Oh man, I was like gearing up. I was like, this is a decent sized house. Like, he's got some stuff," and which I really didn't feel like we had all that much stuff, but he was like, "I was gearing up for this and everything." He was a cool dude. A couple of them were just really, really cool dudes to talk to, which, I think that speaks volumes to the type of business that you're running. And again, it goes back to vetting people. What kind of vibe do you get from them? Those sorts of things, because at the end of the day, I mean, they are going to be responsible for moving your stuff. Yeah, and that's a big deal. I mean, because here's the thing: like we've had people come in and move us before, and I remember specifically, we really liked the kitchen table we had, and whenever it got put back together, it was like, this didn't. It wobbled. I was like, it didn't wobble before they took it apart. And so I had to go take the legs back off and re-glue some stuff because some stuff got cracked and broken. And it was like they didn't take their time taking it apart. And that kind of stuff happens. And I get that kind of stuff happens. But at the same time, I wish that I would have just been told. Yeah. I wish that I would have just been told, look, hey, sorry, something happened. But as it was, I just kind of took care of it because I was young and dumb, and I didn't even realize that they were probably liable for that. Probably should have had to pay for it or whatever. But that kind of stuff would go a long way, even just the honesty of hey, I didn't mean to. Something happened. It fell off the wall as I was trying to take it off, and it slipped out of my hands or whatever. Right? That kind of stuff. Just being honest about that kind of stuff goes a long way.
Very long way.
So how do you guys manage that? I mean, you're moving stuff. Something. I mean,
it's bound to go wrong.
Yeah, you can be as careful as you want, and something's going to get broken.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. Not to say that you guys intentionally would do that. No one wants to do that. Sure. But how do you guys manage that when someone says hey, this thing got damaged?
So first and foremost, I tell my guys, always let me know if something goes wrong. Yeah. I'm not going to chew your head off. Sure. Just let me know. Honesty is the biggest thing. So first I tell them, let me know, just send me a picture, whatever it may be. The second thing is make sure you're doing your job properly. So things usually don't happen.
Right.
So when something does happen, whether it be told by the customer or one of my guys, depending on what it is, just kind of depends on what we do. So if it's like, say, a scratch to a desk, depending on how they feel, either we'll have somebody come out and fix it, give them a certain amount of money for it, or usually one of those two.
Okay.
Or if they are fine with it, then it's up to them. But we want to make sure we make it right.
Right.
So our goal is to make sure we get your stuff there the way that we found it.
Sure.
Or better. Some of our guys will try to find a way to fix something that they saw that was messed up beforehand.
Maybe it was wobbly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happens, actually.
They made it not wobbly.
Yeah. It just tighten up a bolt or something. Moving a chair. It's like, hey, this chair's kind of wobbly. Let me tighten up this Allen key, the screw over here, and we're good.
Yeah.
But when things like that happen, say a scratch to a table, scratch to a floor, we'll have somebody come out and actually fix it, get it taken care of, or give the customer a certain amount of money for it to actually get it fixed.
Yeah.
Say like a TV gets broken, we'll either try to have somebody come and fix it, depending on what's going on with the TV.
Yeah.
TVs are so cheap nowadays, and
They are.
so brittle.
Yeah.
That I've learned that if a TV gets damaged, there's like 3 different screens to a TV, 3 different layers.
Yeah.
If the 3rd layer gets damaged, then
Just
if you try to
replace it.
fix it,
Yeah.
it's the same price, if not more, than just replacing it.
Yep.
Regardless of the price of the TV.
Right.
So like situation, we had a customer we moved, and actually I'll tell you 2 stories. Fortunately, we don't have a lot of damages. If we do, it's something very small, like a scratch to a wall or something like that. But when we do, we had a customer had a piano leg. Somehow, I think something happened with the strap, but the piano leg broke. It was not a baby grand. It was an upright piano. The leg broke on it. Guys told me about it. They finished up the move. I called the customer about it and said, hey, I know the guys are done, but I noticed on the piano leg broke. What do you want to do about it? We can get somebody to come out and fix it, or we can take it up to our person to fix it. It's like, I thought I was going to have to argue with you about it.
Nice.
I said, why? I was like, we broke your piano, the leg on the piano. Why would we have to argue about it? It's like, I'm just used to doing that,
Right.
especially with movers. If they mess something up, I'm used to going back and forth with them. Like,
Yeah.
well, we did it. It's our fault. We can't deny it. We moved it. We're going to get it fixed, and we'll let you know the time frame. And she was just so happy about it.
Sure.
So surprised.
Yeah.
Which is, again, surprising that, that it happens in the industry with moving,
Right.
that something happens, they don't take care of it.
Sure.
Another situation I had where we had a TV get damaged. It wasn't cheap TV. It was a UHD 4K TV. TV got broken. It wasn't really noticeable. It was a crack to the screen, and at first it was working fine, and then he said it kind of started fading out. So what we did was we picked up the television, I think the very next day, took it to a repair shop, had them look at it. They said the 3rd layer was broken. It had to be repaired. It'd be $1,600 to repair it, or $1,600 to buy a new TV. So bought a new TV, made sure it all matched up, sent him the information first to make sure it was correct. And then we got the TV delivered, took it to his home, set it all up, and he was surprised.
Wow.
And it's like, just how you do things.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel good.
I mean, no, but I mean, look, you have liability insurance too. I mean, and it's one of those deals where your business, probably more than some even, your business relies heavily on word of mouth, right? I mean, I know that people find your business on Google and they find your business through Facebook and all that other kind of stuff, which is where a lot of people find business. But, it's pretty easy for someone to say, yeah, they broke my couch and never fixed it. Like I've been fighting with them for 3 months and nothing, right? I guess I'm just going to be out in a couch, right? That's one type of review that someone's going to go, well, I'm never going to use those guys. Or it was like, yeah, they broke my couch. Someone's going to be like, oh man, that really sucks. It's like, actually, it was great. Like they fixed it and it was done within like a week. And they came to me and told me they did it. Like that's a whole different type of review, because now it's like, oh, well, I expect something's going to go wrong in a move if I'm paying for it. Like I expect something's going to go wrong. And now I know that the company's going to be super honest about it. Like,
Yeah, because one of 2 stories is going to get repeated often and loudly.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And so, I know that those are frustrating moments for you as a business owner, right? It's frustrating. It's like, dadgummit, like
Not the way today was going to go.
right. Like I know they were trying to, like, this is one of those moments where they weren't fully ready, and so we were trying to rush a little bit, and they tripped over something. They know better than that. Whatever happens, right? And it's frustrating, but at the same time, that person can either leave you a super negative review, or they're going to leave you a review that maybe it's a 4-star review. And the 4-star review says, yeah, they've damaged something, but they immediately took care of it. And I'm really thankful for it. Mm-hmm. Like, honestly, 4-star reviews are great. Sure. I love 4-star reviews. Like 5-star reviews, unrealistic. They are. I mean, 4-star reviews are the ones that I look at whenever I'm looking at Amazon and go, okay, these people are being really honest.
Yeah.
They took the time to go, look.
Not just clicking through.
That's right. Yeah. It's a really good product, but there was this one thing that I wish was a little different. Okay, that's a very honest review, you know? So, I don't know. I think that there's value in that more so than, it goes a lot further than just trying to sweep it under the rug, trying to save money in the end. Like, I don't know. I know that as a business owner, that's frustrating, but.
I mean, truth always comes out. I'd rather it come out at some point right then and there by the customer as opposed to letting it. I had a customer tell me today, I was on the phone with her. So, yeah, I love my last moving company that I had before, but I went to go move my rocking chair to another spot in my home, and the arm fell off. Mm. And she's like, yeah, now I don't want to use them anymore. She was happy with the service, but when she found out that damage happened, obviously it's obvious that they knew about it.
Right.
They just stuck it somewhere and said, hey, you know, you'll find it. That can, make or break. Sure. You know, if they would have came to her and told her, she wouldn't have been calling me at this point. Yeah. She would be calling them.
Yeah.
An arm on a rocking chair. I mean, that seems like
I don't know how she didn't notice that.
Or just, like if you're the moving company, like it seems like something you could fix with glue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty simple.
I mean, like really, I get if it's like a family heirloom and you'd be really upset or whatever, but like most rocking chairs, I mean, like those joints just come apart and you can reglue them.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
So, yeah, it's a rocking chair.
Right.
So
exactly.
It's actually one of my favorite scenes from The Patriot.
Oh.
Where he's trying to build the rocking chair and they keep falling apart. I love that scene.
Oh, he's a little man. that is a really good scene. That's a good one.
So, he was terrible at building chairs. He was great at killing people.
Yes. Hatchet throwing, spot on.
Yeah. Stick with your lane, dude.
God, that was a good movie. That's the second movie tonight that I'm like, man, I really think I should go home and watch that movie. You know what the other one was?
What?
So I Married an Axe Murderer. We were talking about the Easter Bunny tonight.
Dude, that's an old movie.
Oh, I know.
Is that Mike Myers?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, so we were talking about...
That's like predating like Austin Powers and like all of that.
Taking it back.
Yeah, it is. And so there was we were talking about the Easter Bunny, and we were talking about little kids and about how like little kids get freaked out with people in costumes, right? Mm-hmm. And this person was saying, you got Santa, and Santa's creepy to a lot of little babies, right? They scream. That's why you get these awesome pictures of kids that are like, wow, they're Santa pictures. But it's like worse with bunnies. And I think that what the point was said the head they're so big, and I was like, it's like an orange on a toothpick. it's like a planet, and it's this classic scene. And so I Married an Axe Murderer, and me and one of our friends, John, we were sitting here talking to each other and laughing back. He was red in the face. We were laughing so hard. I was like, now I need to go home and watch that movie. Yeah. It's fantastic. And now I want to watch The Patriot. Thanks a lot. I'm never going to go to bed
you'll
tonight.
be up late. Yeah.
I'm going to be up late.
My kids would be freaked out by the Easter Bunny, mostly because I exposed them to Monty Python.
Oh, yeah.
The Killer Rabbit?
Yeah, the Killer Rabbit.
That's scary stuff to a little kid.
One,
then you make
two,
him like 4 times
5.
size. 3, sir.
3. Oh, 3. So good. Oh man, what a great movie.
So I never really watched the Monty Pythons.
Really?
No?
Yeah.
You never saw it, or you just never got into it?
I've seen bits and pieces of them.
Okay.
Just scrolling through as a kid when it was on TV.
Yeah.
The Holy
I never
Grail,
actually
so
watched
good.
them.
The Holy Grail is like, ugh.
I don't think you need to watch any of the other ones because they're not really worth it.
No,
the Holy Grail though, that one's
so
good. And the old Flying Circus, just like particular skits because like they're the original SNL. They're the guys that invented sketch comedy, pretty much for television.
If there's one other you might choose to watch, it was maybe The Life of Brian.
Yeah, I'm just not interested in seeing full frontal on dudes.
Oh,
That's true.
yeah, I don't
Just
know.
not my thing.
That's true.
Yeah,
But the Monty Python and the Holy Grail was like, it's so good.
It
is, in my opinion, it is the most quotable movie of all time. And I mean, to think that they made that movie with $5,000,
that
is insane.
Yeah,
So
and as like a joke.
Always a complete joke.
The fact it's so legendary too.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I mean,
It
like,
is.
I think if nothing else, you want to watch it, not because you might like enjoy it, but just so like you can be a part of a conversation if it comes up, because like it comes up all the time.
It does.
As like just like little sidebar jokes. Like it's almost like everyone knows the same inside joke, and if you haven't seen it, you're like, why is everyone chuckling at that?
Yeah.
So
And I'm always left out because I don't really watch TV.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you're talking about new shows, I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't.
Right.
You talk about the new Netflix show, I'm like, I don't know. There's a new show on Netflix. Only time I'll ever watch TV is UFC. If fighting's on.
okay,
And that's really it.
that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Do you go somewhere to watch that, or do you actually have a TV at home to watch that?
At home.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I have a TV.
Okay.
I just don't watch it.
I see. I tell people that all the time. It's like I don't watch TV. Like I have TVs.
Yeah.
Right.
I just don't really like. I have things that I watch, but like I'm not. I don't have to be there on Thursday.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Like I'm not into it that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. All right. Well, let me ask this question. Is there something that we haven't talked about as far as like moving or anything like that you think we should talk about?
I think we've kind of covered it all.
Okay.
Everybody knows I'm all about customer service and quality. It's all I care about.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's huge, and I feel like that's the way anybody should run their business. Customer service and quality.
Yep.
Make sure you take care of your customer experience, and the quality's there as well. That's really it. We offer all types of services: moving, packing, unpacking, just loading, unloading. Do some organizing. Not the organizing that the organizers offer. More of like if we're unpacking your home, we can put it in the place for you that you tell us to put it.
Sure.
Organizers, they have a way better expertise than we do. They can look at something and say the feng shui over here is better over here, or however they do it. But in regards to general moving, picking up items, we even had one roofer that asked if we pick up materials. We can do that as well.
Oh.
But our main focus, what we do on a day-to-day basis is moving, packing, and unpacking.
Okay.
That's what we normally do.
Yeah.
Whether it's a senior living facility, we do a lot of those.
oh,
Whether it's moving,
you moving like individuals in and out of okay.
yeah. So there's a place called Avanti Senior Living. We've done a lot of their moves.
Okay.
Move people within the facility, into, out of. We've done a lot of moving people from like College Station, Bryan, Beaumont. So we go outside as well to the other areas around Houston.
Sure.
But
Have y'all done any interstate?
yes, we've done that as well. So moving people in and out of state. If it starts here or ends here, we can take care of them.
Okay.
So how we operate in any move that we do is we're a direct service mover, which means that we start the move in our truck, we end the move in our truck. We don't start the move and have 4 or 5 other homes in that truck, whether it's going down the street or across country. So it's basically when we get it, we're going directly there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
And you're saying that, and like my brain is going, okay, so you're telling me that's something different that you guys do.
it's the other companies offer it, but when people think about moving out of state or out of the area, usually first people's thoughts is the big 18-wheeler truck,
Right.
the big Allied.
What is that,
or
like the
Atlas.
Mayflower or
Yeah,
something?
The Mayflower.
Okay.
Grable. They're not in business anymore. But that's what people think about. So they're on the mindset of, hey, you're going to come in with a huge truck. I'll probably be a quarter of that truck. You pick up my stuff, and you'll probably deliver it in a couple weeks to a couple months. So for us, if we load up on a Monday, we'll have it delivered by a Friday, wherever you're at.
Right.
If we are loading on that day. So California will be there in 3 days. Florida will be there, 2 to 3 days.
Yeah.
Going to New Orleans, we do that usually and load up in a day, drive the next, we drive the next day and
Like
unload
a
that same
24-hour
day.
turnaround right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we get it loaded up, we're going straight there.
So have you guys done California, Florida?
We've, have I done California? Done Florida. Getting ready to do Florida again here soon. I've gone up.
A lot of people moving to Florida.
A lot of people moving to Florida. Yeah, a lot. We've done Florida, different parts of Florida. I want to say Punta Raton, I think it's called.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Rat's Point. I think that's what it meant, which is a bad name for a place to live. We've done Boynton Beach, Miami.
Somebody that named a city that didn't want neighbors.
Yeah.
Right. It's like the whole Iceland Greenland thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I heard what Iceland actually is green and
Yeah.
Greenland
is
has ice.
ice.
Yeah.
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 Mess with my childhood. Like that was the whole time. I'm thinking it's this big brick of ice.
I thought
going to
I knew
Iceland.
you.
Yeah.
No. It's just a ploy. That's all that is. It
Ain't
worked.
want anybody going there.
Good old Viking trick.
That's right. I mean, it definitely worked.
It worked.
I mean, so. Well, cool, man. Well, thanks for your time. I'll tell you this though, like before we let you go, we have to do the thing that everybody's still listening to us right now is waiting for. Yeah. Right? Which is the most important part of our show, which is
The thing.
the Final Four.
Final Four.
This is the Final Four questions we ask each and every one of our guests, and so you are so privileged.
I'm moistening the chops.
Yes, so this is very, very exciting for all of us. So here's the very first question. Here we go. What's the must-have tool you won't leave your house without?
Must-have tool I won't leave my house. And I'm assuming tool could be
Anything.
a phone.
Mm-hmm. Anything.
I mean, probably my phone.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean,
That is the number one answer.
It is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, my phone is my life, and it's a shame.
I think it's the true for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think it was an interview I heard with Elon Musk not too long ago when someone was asking, like, do you think we'll ever advance to where, like, we're living as androids? Mm-hmm. He's like, we're doing that now.
I saw that. Yeah.
And I think he was giving an interview about he was talking about putting chips in people's heads, and they're like, "Why?" He's like, "I don't understand why people are pushing back on like you can't walk out without having a phone in your hand or having a smart device on your wrist or and people are now getting glasses
Or like one of these.
Yeah, what is that? Oh yeah,
The Galaxy Buds.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So I mean, like he's like you're that way now,
Right. I mean, you're literally walking around with most people multiple GPS
Yeah,
units
we're
on
already
you.
Android.
Yeah.
I mean, basically. Yeah, you have the smartwatch.
Yep.
I mean, you have the Galaxy Buds, which are also GPS.
Right.
You have your cell phone. It's all like we're already pretty much an Android. We're just out putting it in our bodies.
Let me ask you: have you guys seen the thing that they're putting on the backs of people's arms now?
Oh, yeah.
It's like injected into the back of your arm so that you can monitor your blood sugar.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
I would
I've
never
not seen
put that
that.
thing on me.
I know they have the chips that people are putting into their hands to keep them from having to hold a card key with them for work. Like when they put the key against the sensor and it opens the door for them, they're putting some chips in people's hands so you just put their hand in front of it.
What?
I'm out.
For some reason, that's more convenient than just holding a little card.
That sounds less convenient. I had to go and have a procedure. Nope.
I'm out.
Yep. No, thank you. I will carry a card.
Yeah, I'm fine
No
with
big
that.
deal.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Crazy. All right. Next question. You ready? Mm-hmm. All right. What's a job you walked away from? All right. So, we know that you changed career jobs, not necessarily careers, but jobs here. But we also kind of had an idea in our mind whenever we asked this question about like a home job that maybe you started and then you couldn't finish it, and so maybe you called in the big dogs, the plumber or whatever, to finish the job.
Thought you could move yourself.
It's basically like a home project that I was doing.
Right.
Yeah. So definitely, if you have one of those, we'd like to hear it. But if you want to talk about a job that you walked away from, I mean, that would be fine too.
Yeah, I've had a few the outdoor stuff. Like I built a fence. I thought I wasn't gonna do that myself, but I ended up doing it. It's when I start working on my car, which is I love my car.
Yeah.
It's either things take me longer to do it, like change my spark plugs out in my car. I never did that before. And I was having misfiring issues, so I thought it was my spark plugs. Trying to make sure it wasn't my injector. So I ended up changing out my spark plugs, and still had the issue. Ended up changing out my injector, and that was a headache of a job. It took me 4 or 5 hours to do. That wasn't the issue, and then I ended up finding out to turn my car on, and I guess something happened where I think the piston hit the part of my my spark plug, and the ceramic came off the spark plug and went into my engine and bounced around everywhere, and I had to get a new engine.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
Which fortunately was under warranty.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, because that's the
an
third
old
engine I've had to get
wipe
replaced.
the brow.
Yeah, $25,000 job if you go to the dealership.
Wow.
So that's one. I have done my brakes before. This is before I even really knew what I was doing, and ended up getting on my brakes and they didn't really work, and realizing that I had got a bunch of air in my brakes. And so I did it myself, but I had to get somebody else to help me pump the brakes to get the fluid out.
Yeah.
I've done it before where I've just took it to somebody and had them fix it, but I was like, no, this time I'm doing it myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to fix it myself, save the money, and I ended up realizing I'm saving the money but spending so much time on it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Brakes is a tough one too, because like you can typically get the parts for like $40-$60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you go to the guy and you're like, how much is it going to be? It's like $500. You're
Yeah.
like, I can do that.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yes, it will take you 3 days. And you will be back and forth to O'Reilly's 29 times.
Yep,
Yeah.
I've had that.
You know?
Yeah, I've had that, unfortunately.
That's the way it goes. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like, it's why we have a DIY calculator,
Yeah.
right?
Let me tell you, that's a business right there that could work on their manners.
Oh, no doubt.
Those people are short with me every time I go in.
Yeah.
What, mechanics?
No, the people at O'Reilly's.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's mainly
I'll name
because
them.
they don't. It's mainly because they don't want you in there.
I know.
Yeah.
They don't.
No, they're
Because they know I'm going to come up there and they're going to have to go look for whatever it is that I need.
Yeah. Well,
And
I
it's
think
just annoying to them.
I think it's even more than that. I think it's because they see me walking in and they're like, this guy's a moron. He is going to tell me that he wants brakes, and then he's going to realize that he doesn't even know what model his car is. And
Yep.
so he's going to buy something, and then tomorrow he's going to come back and he's going to blame me for giving him the wrong part. This guy's an idiot, and now we're going to have to deal with him, not today, but tomorrow.
Is this a real story?
You know? No, it's
Okay.
not a real story, but I know that happens all the time. Like
he gets
right?
that vibe wherever he
Yeah,
goes.
exactly. The moron vibe.
Must be the beard. I don't know.
Yeah.
Must be jealous.
Yeah, that's what it is.
This guy with a
Jealousy.
good-looking beard coming in.
It's jealousy.
with a
What are
nice
you gonna-
mustache.
Exactly.
Wish I can pull that off.
Little.
Have you
Yeah.
tried?
I haven't tried.
Okay, well then you don't know. Maybe you could.
Yeah. I may try. I just don't. I don't know. I don't know if I can grow out my mustache enough to like. How do you just
Yeah.
you start just twisting it up and it just
He sticks his fingers in his ears.
Yeah.
it just starts
Eventually, it just happens. I don't know. I mean,
genetics.
you go look at any of my family and they don't look like
Don't have
this.
mustaches that go
No,
like-
Yeah.
no, they don't. So I don't know.
Clearly, I mean, because like my dad has like,
The manliest
yeah,
mustache.
and I can't do anything.
Yeah. His dad's mustache makes me look like, I don't know, like Craig.
Yep.
His dad has a great mustache.
Yeah.
But anyway, it is
He's got
what
like
it
the
is.
Sam Elliott walrus twisty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a man's
Speaking of
mustache right there.
1883,
Oh,
Sam
is he in
Elliott's-
that?
He's in it.
That's right. Okay.
Oh man, it's so good. You got to go watch it.
I guess
you gotta
so.
Go watch it. Yeah, it's worth it. All right,
It's very suspicious. It's got Tim McGraw.
man, it's a lot better than you think.
What's wrong with Tim McGraw?
I mean,
He's a great singer. I don't know that I want to watch him act.
yeah. Well, it's also got Faith Hill in it too, though. So
I love me some Faith Hill.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's that. Yeah.
She's worth looking at.
Yeah, she definitely is.
I will tell you this. She's a lot older in this movie than you think she is. I'm like, you're not as young as you used to be.
So when you start realizing how old you're getting is when
Oh, I
you see
know.
other people and you're
I know.
like, wow, they're that old?
They're looking old.
That means I'm getting old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim McGraw has a pretty nasty
I don't buy into
beard.
your logic. I'm not old.
No, it's
I mean,
true.
old's all in the head. It's all about how you feel. I like to say wise.
Yeah.
You gotten wiser.
I don't know. Yeah, we can say it if we
Yeah.
want to.
Yeah.
but it doesn't make it true.
But I realize the older I get in age, I don't get older in mindset. I'm
Yeah,
still like a
that's
big
the
kid.
truth.
Yeah,
Especially guys. I think we're the
Yeah,
worst.
I mean, there are plenty of times. Like I remember whenever I got sent home with a baby, and I was like 31, right? So I'm not young. I'm like 31. I'm like, who let me take this baby home? What? Who do they think I am right now? Like
No
they don't
manual.
know. They don't know me at all. Like I'm irresponsible to the core, and something about this.
Basically just having two kids together, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. They don't know me at all. I don't know. Who and then I'm like, who let me buy a house? Someone let me buy a house 3 times at this point.
To be fair, they'll let anybody do it.
that's true. That's true. But I'm seriously, I'm like, this is, I don't know. I don't think they know me at all, which is fine.
They couldn't.
They probably, no, they obviously they don't. Right? It's probably good that they don't know me because otherwise I would have nothing.
It's more responsible for them not to.
Exactly.
That's right. I'm protecting you by you not really knowing who I am. Right? Yeah. It's all right. You're probably like half our age, so it's fine. Whatever.
Probably not. I just don't like to go over my age, though, because, that's when people are like, oh, you're so young or I'm old. Instead
You
of
are
age.
young. There's no
Yeah,
doubt.
I feel like I'm old.
No, not as old as me and Craig. Look at us. Yeah, we're old-ish.
I don't have the
Very
facial
young.
hair, so
You look younger.
I look younger.
Got the baby face.
Yep.
I'll tell you this. that's part of the reason I don't shave. It's because whenever I do, I'm like, oh.
You get more respected.
Like, oh, I'm 24 again. This isn't good. So, all right. Next question. How do you wind down at the end of a long day?
Usually falling asleep on the couch, waking up at 2 or 5 in the morning and going to bed for, if it's 5 or like an hour.
Wow.
You're in the actual bed?
Yeah, and then I'm in the actual bed for like an hour or two.
Okay.
Yeah, most nights.
Yep.
But I
So
mean,
that bed's going to last a lot longer than...
yeah. It's definitely not getting its use.
Yeah.
Well, I usually get in there and then the wife and kids are already in the bed, so I'm like, oh, well.
I don't have a spot.
Yeah.
No room for me.
Yeah, it happened to me last night. I'm up late. My daughter, I'm actually laying in bed, comes in the room. She wants to lay in there. And so I was talking with my wife, and so I told her to go in there and wait, and then I get in there, she'd sleep on the couch. And then she gets in the bed, and then I wake up, and my son's in the bed too. And I wake up, and I'm like all twisted up. I'm like, how did I get like this?
Right. You know, that's one of the things that like winds up being one of the most surprising things that I can tell someone about me is that I've never, ever had a kid sleep with us in bed, ever. I've got a 9-year-old. She's our oldest. In 9 years of having a child, I've never had a child sleep in bed with me.
Honestly, I'm probably the culprit of that. Because I know when we first had our first, because I have 3 kids. I have 8, 3, and a 2. When I had my first daughter, we, a little bit after, say don't do it, but she slept in the bed with us probably maybe a month after. Yeah. We had one little baby thing she slept in. After that, we're like, hey, it's fine. She slept in the bed with us. Yeah. And I loved it because I worked so much. Like at the time when I had my first daughter.
That's when you got time with her.
Yeah. I worked so many jobs. I worked, I think, 2 or 3 jobs. There was really no reason to do so. I don't know why. I just like to work a lot. One of those jobs is working for Houston Chronicle at the, it's like you're an independent contractor. So you would pass out newspapers. But a part of that, you would go into a facility, I think at 1 o'clock in the morning, roll up the newspapers.
Yeah.
Depending on which ones they had. So if one home had just a regular newspaper they get for free, or another home had the coupons or had the Wall Street Journal, or another one starts with a U. I can't remember names today, but whatever there was, you had to roll that one up individually, put in a certain color bag, and put all that in your car. Okay. And so you'll spend an hour or two just doing that. So 3 o'clock in the morning, you're probably leaving. 4 o'clock in the morning, you're leaving to pass out newspapers. And so you probably don't get done till 7. So I would love having her in the bed when I was slept for probably a few hours to go to my 1 o'clock in the morning job. And so it kind of just carried over till she got older. Sure. And then it was to the point where wife was like, well, she's sleeping in her own bed. I was like, no, she's asleep with us.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not shaming anyone in any way, shape, or form. It's just one of those things that whenever I tell people, a lot of times they're like, really?
Yeah. Definitely get better sleep.
Well, I mean, it was just a decision we made early on. Yeah. We're not gonna
as heartless parents.
Yeah, exactly.
We can judge you.
That's no, it's fine. I judge you. So, but it was just one of those things. Like my kids do not know that that's an option. Yeah. Well, because it's not in our house.
Once they do it, they're going to take advantage.
Yeah,
of it.
exactly.
That's for sure.
Like podcast nights are my kids' favorite night because they know they can sneak in my bed.
Yep.
Because they know I'm not in there.
Yep.
Right. And they're like walking through the house. They're like, "Is Daddy in here?"
No.
Like, no, he's doing the podcast. No, all right.
Yeah, here we go.
By the time you get there,
I'm
it's too
sleeping
late.
in his bed.
Yep.
That's funny.
Yeah, I even thought about I started looking up mattresses. Like, what's bigger than a California King? Like, I gotta get something big so we can all fit.
What does Shaq have?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was an Alaskan King, I think.
Yeah. So when I lived in the Dallas area, I had some kids I worked with that lived in a little town up there called Salina. It's actually blowing up now. But on the way to Salina, there's another little town called Prosper. And again, these places are not little anymore.
No, because I moved people to both those places.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're blowing up. But Deion Sanders had a house in Prosper, and you had to pass by it to get to Salina. And I don't know if it's true, but there was a rumor at one point that Deion Sanders had a bed that you could sleep 6 people in. Like that was I don't know how they quantify that, but apparently it was a 6-person bed. And I'm like, okay, there's 2 questions I have. 2 questions. Number 1.
Just 2?
There's two main ones.
Okay.
How do you know that 6 people can sleep in a bed? Uh-huh. And number 2, why do you have that need? Why is that something that you need? You know, and maybe it's just because he had 7 kids.
I think one person can answer that question.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't the 7 kids part.
No. It probably. I'm not going to ask him. I'm not going to ask Deion Sanders because he doesn't answer my phone calls anymore. So anyway, it's just one of those things.
Just don't remember where they.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a cool one cool thing I'm thinking about now that I saw from your question before.
Okay.
Is I went to move a certain NFL player, and one of many things that we saw was pretty cool. But one of them was he had a artwork made of him, and it was like a 3D artwork. So there was half of his helmet. It was him going through a defender.
Okay.
So half his helmet was real. The other half was painted. Half his towel was real, so it was hanging off of the artwork.
Okay.
Half of it was painted. And then other parts of like his shoelaces were real, I believe. Part of it was painted, so it was just cool to see.
Wow, like actual like game worn type stuff.
I don't know if it was game worn, but I know it was an actual towel that he probably would have used.
Sure,
maybe he did use it. The helmet, I think it was like a brand new looking helmet, so I don't think he used it. But it was just cool. Had a 3D effect.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
So I guess you could like turn it sideways and it looks like he's coming.
Yeah,
out
you turn it sideways and something's coming out of it. Yeah, but that was a cool one. And that because I'm from Oklahoma, so I don't know why you're smiling like that.
No, I'm intrigued by the
Because
story.
everybody has a joke about Oklahoma or something. Like when somebody mentions Oklahoma, like, oh, I gotta go to Oklahoma. I'm like, well, I'm from there. Like, oh, well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for you.
Yeah.
But anyways, he's from Palestine, Texas, and he used to play for Oklahoma Sooners. You might know who he is. Legendary player. Okay. Didn't know he lived in Houston. I lived in Grogan's Point. Adrian Peterson.
Okay, yeah.
And so I'm a big Sooner fan.
Yeah. Okay.
And walk in and meet his wife, and then I didn't know whose house it was. So that whole thing, when I saw that piece of artwork, I'm sitting there, we go through to the home, look at the office, and I see that piece of artwork. Like, okay, she's maybe, it's a 10,000 square foot house, 12,000 square foot house.
Yeah.
Maybe, she's successful. Maybe she's a model or something. She likes, football. We walk through the house. We're sitting down at their long 8-foot glass dining room table, which was so fun to move. But I'm sitting there and I just see this big guy just pass me by. Actually, he's not really that big, but
just beefy.
He's big. See him pass by, I'm like, wait. And then he comes over to me, shakes my hand. I'm like, this is Adrian Peterson.
What?
And he pretty much wants to crush your hand. When he shakes your hand every time, he's like he's putting all his force into it. I don't know if he's trying to test your manliness or what,
right.
But he's like trying to squeeze your hand. It was just the coolest thing. And meeting him, he's like the most laid back guy.
Nice.
He let me drive, or he didn't let me, but he asked me because he had to go to town to drive one of his cars from his house in the Woodlands over to his new home that was over off of Westheimer. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I'm driving Adrian Peterson's car right now.
That's crazy.
This is cool. And you wouldn't think, but he had like an older Range Rover. He didn't really have a lot of new cars.
Nice.
Seemed like he was at that point at least doing well with his money.
Sure.
But he had like an older, like a 2003 or 2005 7 Series, probably like a 2010 Range Rover. Which I was surprised to see an NFL player of that stature to have older cars.
Sure.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just kind of came to my mind. It was cool to have that experience and be able to meet Adrian Peterson and then just be surprised.
Nice.
I was like, maybe she's just a fan of Adrian Peterson or a fan of just football, and I see this guy walk past. I'm like, okay, that's who it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so I actually had something crazy that I found out not too long ago. So I lived for a long time in April Sound. I can say that now because I don't live there anymore.
You don't live there anymore.
So I lived in April Sound, not too far from here, and I had no idea. So everybody had talked about the mansion. There's a mansion on the lake in April Sound, and I've actually still to this day never driven over there to see it, but I've heard it's amazing. But it was RG3's.
Oh,
he just sold it.
I heard about yes.
He sold it for like something like ridiculous, like 2.7 million or something like that. But anyway, it's crazy. I mean, these
Is that guy still playing?
No, I think it's been done.
Yeah,
I think that house was his girlfriend or wife's or something. Or there might have been another house, but I know a realtor that actually sold, walked through with him. It was his ex-wife or ex-girlfriend at the time, but he bought her house. I don't know if it was April Sound or what, but I knew the realtor that had.
I mean, it sold
did it
just
for him.
like within the last year.
This is
yeah.
This is probably about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So it's probably
it was
different
crazy. It had like 5 pools and anyway.
It's crazy to think how many players live
Oh yeah.
in this area
Oh
that
yeah.
didn't ever play here. Like Adrian Peterson, RG3, Who
Yeah,
else?
but RG3, he grew up here.
That's okay.
Yeah, he grew up around here.
I know Adrian Peterson grew up in Palestine, not too far.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's crazy. All right, well, we do have one more question. All right, and here it is. What's one of the best pieces of wisdom or advice that you've ever received?
I feel like I've gotten so many.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough. It's a few of them. It's like the things you get taught when you're a kid. Just treat people how you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I kind of that comes to my mind is just treat people with respect because you never know what they're going through.
Yeah.
I've kind of gone through some things. I've known people that have gone through a lot worse, and they put on a happy smile.
Yeah.
But you really just don't know what people are going through.
Mm-hmm.
You really don't until maybe you've gone through it or what. But you don't. That person you're talking to, just being nice to them.
Yeah.
Just smiling for them, doing a nice gesture, opening a door. That can go a long way because you don't know what's going on behind closed doors or what they're dealing with. I've just had customers open up to me, crying on my shoulder, literally, that I've never met them the day before that, but they're telling me their whole life story, which I love it. It's probably one of my favorite things about my job is just people being comfortable with me and telling me just everything. And me being there, not judging any way, shape, or form, just listening to them, just trying to be an extra ear. But that's probably the one thing I would say. It's just try to think about other people's point of view instead of your own and realizing they could be going through some things. And if something happens, don't be quick to getting upset at them or trying to get back at them for whatever it may be, or if they cut you off on the road. You just never know. My mom always gave me the mindset of benefit of the doubt. You never know. Like I'll be on the road driving, somebody cuts me off. I'm like, oh, Mom, they just did this and that. I'm on the phone with her. It's like, well, you never know. They could be on the way, on the rush to get to the hospital. I'm like, Mom, why do you have to say this? Right. And then when I'm out, something happens. I'm like, man, I want to be mad. I'm like, well, it could be this going on. I'm like, Mom, stop, get out of my head. But it's true. So I
just learned something a lot about your mom. She has a nice voice.
Yeah, she does. She doesn't sound like that.
Did you hear it? Like he just did her voice.
He
changed his voice.
Did he not?
And like when he did, I was like, that's his mom.
That's his mom. I'm
He
like,
sounds a lot better than that. But
I don't know. It's funny. Like I love that whenever people like change their voice to sound like someone else, I'm like, that's how you think they sound.
it's nothing like what she sounds like, I'm sure.
It's funny stuff. All right. Well, we fibbed just a little bit, and we said there were 4 final questions, but there's actually a secret 5th question.
Okay. Yep.
And Craig gets to ask this question.
Because I can't remember the other 4.
That's right. That's right.
If people want to get a hold of you, how do they find you?
They find me either Facebook, Robert Green, but there's probably a million Robert Greens, unfortunately. I'm not unique in that sense. So thanks, Mom, for that. But if you want to find me, Instagram, Facebook, Greenlight Movers, at Greenlight Movers for Instagram, or even Facebook. glmovers.com. G is in groovy, L is in light, movers.com. Or somebody told me to say G is in groovy, L is in lovely, movers.com. I think we have some groovy, lovely movers.
There you go.
That's where you find us at. Our phone number is 832-929-MOVE, 832-929-6683. Find us on there. We'll get you taken care of.
Awesome. We'll link all that up in the show notes.
That's right.
So people can find you.
Cool.
And get moved. Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of that happening right now.
There's a whole lot of that happening.
Man.
Yeah.
And it's weird because like a lot of people are doing what I did, which was move out of their house into a storage facility so that they're not in a contingency anymore, and then start looking for what they can buy, and then they got to. So you get to move people twice a lot of that.
I just got off the phone with somebody on the way here doing the same exact thing.
Yeah, it happens a lot. In fact, we were looking for a 10 by 30 unit to put our stuff in, and so I called the storage facility that I wanted to use, and she was like, yeah, I just actually had 3 of those, but one lady came in and bought all of them. And
Oh my gosh.
Holy cow, like how big is this house that they were trying to move? And then I got like into my 10 by 30 and I was like, I should have had 2.
Yes, you should.
Now you understand.
We got it all in there. Craig saw it. We got it all in there, but
That freaking piano.
Oh yeah. The piano. We had a strategic place for it and it fit, but wow. I hate moving piano.
It says never again. He was going to be doing it again.
I know. That's exactly right. I was like, I said I was never going to move myself again, and here I am moving myself again. So, anyway, it is what it is. Well, thank you so very much for coming on the show. It's been great. And if you're looking for a mover, call Mr. Green over here.
Yeah, absolutely.
He'll take care of you.
So, well, thank you guys for joining us.
That's right.
Click the
Thanks for having me.
click the share, thumbs up, all that kind of good stuff.
Do it.
Come back and join us next week.
That's right.
We'll have a good old homeowner time.
Yes, we will. So thanks for being here. Until next time, we'll see you later.
See ya.
Later.